Welcome back to Biashara Tuesday. Thank you for being patient and for staying with us. KUTV Kenya, we are streaming live on YouTube. Check on that stream, leave a comment, let us know, give us feedback, react, predict, and say something, yeah? Ask questions as well, because now this conversation needs your input. Needs your input because it's about your money, it's about financial inclusion, and this time I'm also speaking on financial institutions and what role they play in that. It's a good conversation for professionals. It's also a good conversation for students. That's why we have a student on the set today to ensure we get that perspective, what kind of insights, and what kind of questions they have as well. So we might pick questions from my panelists to the other panelists and also from myself as well, and answer a few of your concerns that you will be putting up on social platforms. I have Susan with me, and next to her is Vincent. I'll allow them to introduce themselves properly and do justice to that before we get into these conversations. The role of financial institutions in financial inclusion. If you are a financial institution, also if you're a young person who's innovating in fintech, this is also a conversation for you on how you can play an important role in the economic prosperity, social development, and financial inclusion. I start from my far left, actually, where Susan is at, and then we can come to the gentleman before we get into the details of the discussion. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, please introduce yourself here.
Okay. Right. My name is Susan Nyotta. I am currently the head of SME alternate channels at Britam Microinsurance Company, leading the business development team. And on a private basis, yes. I'm also a businesswoman. I deal with real estate as well as supply and good of services, what you call hardware outside there.
All right.
Yes.
Great. You are the most relevant person for this conversation. Head of business development, businesswoman in your own regard. So yeah. We might even have questions outside of financial
yes.
institutions, something
yes.
into business
yes.
for our audience.
Okay.
Vincent, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Please do justice.
My name is Vincent Murithi. I'm a fourth-year student at Kenyatta University, where I study economics and finance. Apart from my education, I've interned at M-Pesa Africa, where I used to work in partnerships and strategy, and I've also worked as an investment banking intern at KCB Bank. So in my experiences working, I've gotten to understand financial inclusion, and thank you for having me. I'm really eager about this discussion.
Right, same. Very glad to have you guys here and for creating time to join me at my workplace. I say I'm the only one who's coming to work and you're escorting me to work, so your motivation is even higher than mine, yeah? So let's begin with this topic of discussion, which is the role of financial institutions in financial inclusion. Susan, when we say financial inclusion, what does that mean for someone who wants to understand that first before they get to know what these roles are like?
Okay, so financial inclusion to me is where we provide solutions that enable especially the underserved or the underprivileged in terms of products and services that will enable them to be exposed, aware, to utilize the opportunity to, of course, improve their financial position on a personal angle. So it can be on individual aspect, so you yourself or myself, or now to the businesses.
All right.
Yes.
You mentioned underserved, yeah?
Yes.
And someone who's, who has money,
yes.
and they hear that, they're like, I have money. Am I, financially included? Does it mean if I have enough money, yes. I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I have a trust fund?
Yeah.
Do I need to care about this kind of conversation?
Yes, you need to care, because at the end of it all, financial inclusion is also about awareness. What are the legal frameworks that have been set up to ensure that, your finances are protected? How you should be aware of the, the blocks that are outside there, how things that can expose you to lose your finances, even if you have them, things that can expose you, to the fraudulent situation that are there, but also things that can make you make more money. How can you have affordable way of transacting, but also how can you have ability of awareness to know what is outside there being offered that can also create wealth for you. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Vincent, yes. You said you've interned at financial institutions, M-Pesa, it's, you know, at this point a financial institution on its own regard outside of Safaricom. You've mentioned of KCB. From that perspective, what does financial inclusion look like for you?
So financial inclusion for me means that everybody, irrespective of their geographical location, the amount of money they have in their pocket, or even their gender, has access to financial products and services that she's talking about. Majorly, we have something like savings, we have access to credit, access to payment services, and also access to investment opportunities. So it is about making sure that at least the bottom of the pyramid has access to these financial services and can be able to use them in order to improve their lives.
All right.
Yeah.
Financial inclusion, regardless of finances as well. I loved that. I've loved that introduction to this discussion, which means everybody needs to have a listening ear to what we about to discuss here. So financial inclusion is very important for economic growth, and I'm sure at Britam that's something that you're always looking at. Be it the kind of products in the various verticals, from insurance to real estate to life. For economic growth and poverty alleviation, he's mentioned that the bottom of the pyramid, needs to get these products.
Yes.
Needs to be aware of, what kind of financial, or what it looks like in the financial world, on the financial realm out there. How does it help the economic growth and poverty alleviation? Let's say I'm now aware. I know how the finances work, how the markets work, what kind of bottlenecks are out there for me to make money. How does this help me eventually in getting myself out of my problems? I have information, I have the knowledge.
Yes.
How will it also eventually help in economic growth?
So once you are aware, then you also become a solution provider outside there, because there are different gaps and barriers that have been outed there. As mentioned, one of them has been awareness. What do people know about money? What kind of relationship do you have with money? Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Do you use when you need to, or you use because you have it? The other key thing, of course, is when we have these funds, then we are able to help outside there. Because as I keep saying, when you have the fund, it's not only about you. It's not only about what impact can you have outside there. Our black tax, are you able to help, your relatives improve their lives? Because as we say, when you have the funds and you are aware about it, what other impact, ripple effect is outside there? So when we look, for example, at what Britam does, we provide awareness first. We have financial advisors on ground who come and tell you, my name is, I work with Britam, and these are the kind of products that we are offering, and this product have been researched, and they are touching different gaps. So there are solutions to needs that are outside there. As he has just rightfully mentioned, it is not about just providing products for just everyone. It is tailored to the need. So for example, you look at what we have done, microinsurance, we are starting to tailor products particularly for women. We are sitting down and saying women are crying out there because of cancer, women are crying out there because of skin issues. You find it is it's something that is an exclusion to other insurance company, but it is a need and a cry outside there. So you provide that, because apart from what is saying money, self-esteem is important for you. Let's say, for example, as a woman, those are things we never used to do previously, because it was about what do you have in your pocket. Really, I don't care about how you as an individual, emotional stability, mental health issues, how they touch you. You look at the youth, you are a student, you maybe are fully depending on your parents. So what does it mean? I cannot be able to provide products that then are expensive. I cannot also provide products that you need transport to go look for Britam as a branch. You can access them on your phone. We can use fellow students to also sell to you, because once they are aware, your job is to just know, okay, as my peer-to-peer engagement, there are these things that are outside there. So digital platform has helped us. Of course, I've said access of information is critical, but I think the other most important thing is to kill the perception that money is for others. Money is for all of us. What matters is when you get it, what do you keep and how do you grow it? That is the differentiator between you have money, I have money. That is the only difference.
Anyone can come across money.
Anyone can come across money, but the issue is when you get it, how do you keep it and how do you grow it, and how do you use it. That is what differentiates us.
Financial inclusion is further, a bit further than just the products, but also accessibility, as you mentioned. How do I access that product? Am I financially included in terms of, as you said, I'm a student, how will I get this money? How will I access your branches? How will I get this information? Inclusion in the overall aspect rather than just the money or the products. As a student, Vincent, it's very easy for financial institutions to, maybe traditionally, let me not put them on the spot because things have changed. It was very easy for them to assume students have no money. You're fully dependent on your parents. You have no disposable income. The little that you have, you will spend on, your upkeep and sustenance. Do you think that that perspective has changed? And in what ways, especially because you've worked in these institutions themselves, in what ways do you feel like now they're taking a look at the younger population, the future generation? Are there products that you feel at this point, are taking care of your little 5 shillings, 10 shillings? I'm not saying that's what you have, but, generally an average student, do you feel like they're taken care of by financial institutions, including how to keep their money and, grow it?
Yeah. So it's true, there used to be that perception that as students we didn't have money. And it's not a lot of money, yes, but every single amount of money is still money. And so we've been able to see products that are actually coming up and trying to support students. For instance, a lot of banks have set up accounts that are specifically for students or students oriented. For instance, you can see something like COP with their year cards. So that's a product that is specifically for the youth that has a very low deposit requirement and has very little in terms of maintenance charges for the account. So that's an example of a product that is actually enabling something that is for students. But even above that, if you look at something like the insurance space, with, for instance, Britta, she's just mentioned, as a student, when I go out for my internship, I don't really require a long-term insurance. But with them, I can be able to get a micro-insurance that is able to cover me as part of my workplace insurance for only a period of 3 months. So again, that's a financial product that specifically targets the needs that I have as a student. If you look at something like savings, I'll combine savings and investments. If you look out there, you'll find a product like Chums. So Chums is a platform that allows you to save as little as 5 shillings. And once you invest it there, it's a unit trust, so you're able to earn an interest of up to 8%, and that is net of tax on your deposit amounts. So we are seeing a trend where different financial institutions are starting to create products for students, even if we don't have that much money. And that, of course, leads to a place where we get financially included. And the beauty of it, at least to the financial institutions, is once I transition out of campus and I get myself a job, my income actually increases. Then you can be able to sell even more financial products to me, which is really a win-win situation for all of us.
Definitely. You've answered a question that I had, which is, I'm a student and ningoje hadi nipate pesa ngapi ndio nianze kufikiria about being looking at these products and having a look at how I can grow my money. And you've mentioned there as low as 5 shillings there are platforms which give you somewhere to invest. Basically just put your 5 bob, calculate 8% at the end of the year and get your 5.7. But now imagine that in in scale, on scale, large scale. I was saying that traditionally, Susan, financial institutions assumed students don't have money. But you look at Vincent and his suit here. There's money. There's money in these campuses.
I think the biggest challenge has previously, as you've just said, it was about perception. Perception both to the institution, but also perception to the users. So let's, for example, say the students. If you see, Equity was able to change this mindset that we all had. And that is what Britta Microinsurance is doing predominantly. Then I will wait for him to get an employment to have insurance. But you see now, I'm coming to him while he is a student. I'm telling him you can save as little as 100 bob per day and you get a return of almost 14% on our money market fund. Using your phone, you don't need to visit Britta, and you're able to access your statement, your interest on a daily basis. So that motivates you. Then we are able also to partner with you as a student, peer-to-peer selling, so that you're able to tell your fellow students, there is this product, and you get to earn something while you're working. Yes, so those are the kind of partnership we are doing so that exposure starts as
early.
early.
Right.
Yes.
Financial inclusion, which also involves work. I love it. So you
Exactly.
earn from, getting knowledge. You're getting knowledge while you also earning from it.
Yes.
One of the barriers, I think, then from the traditional setup to what we have now,
Yes.
was still the perception of the young people, which is maybe these products are expensive. I don't have, there's probably nothing there for me. Mimi kama pesa yangu iko M-Pesa, sidhani hata bank inaweza kubali hii amount. And I'm glad to hear that there are various ways in which financial inclusion has now involved even apps, digital platforms, websites, and that peer-to-peer also selling, which brings this information closer. Are there other barriers generally for the general population away from the young people that you feel financial institutions have had to go over to promote this information of financial inclusion, and also to bring more products to the rest of the population? Underserved rural regions, what are the barriers been looking like?
So the business cost acquisition is always an issue for a corporation. So for me, or now as an organization, to be able to deliver this product, the administration cost part of it has always been an issue, and that has been a challenge, especially looking at the economic position we are in, all of us. This is what everyone is. The money in the pocket.
Dry.
It got dry, as you're mentioning it. So that has been the biggest challenge, but our organization then are looking for ways to ensure, as mentioned, then I don't need to use a lot of marketing costs to sell. I need to look for a student. I let few leaders know this is the kind of products that we are offering for savings, for internship. Then I let these students buy the product, and then I allow them to also sell the product. So then you get, if it's, for example, Kenyatta University, having 4 individuals who are introduced to these products, then they become the champion selling to the rest and sharing this information through their WhatsApp statuses and the WhatsApp groups they are in. So then that starts saving, and that's what we are trying to do as an institution.
Right.
The other key thing, as you've said, apart from access, as well as the issue of perception, is in terms of now making the individuals understand the importance. You can make someone aware, but do they buy it?
Yeah, right.
You get it?
Right.
So I can't
there's another step.
There's another step.
Knowing, which is, do I think this is important?
Do I think this is important? Is it really something is it like, for a student, is sherehe more important than me not putting aside something to pay myself anytime I receive any amount? I always give a story because we are alumni of Nairobi University. So my husband, now my boyfriend then, when you used to get help, I'll use the 2 stories. So myself, coming from a very humble background, when I got the first help, you can imagine what I did.
Kujitibu?
No, we did not have TV. The colored TV that had that, but you guys are young.
Mugongo. We're not that young.
Exactly. So they were not colored, but they had something that used to be put in front to look like colored. Same color, a filter.
Right, yes.
So when I got help, the first thing I bought my mom that 12 inch. 12 inch.
Oh.
You can imagine a 12 inch. My husband bought shares. You get a different exposure.
Yes, very
so
big
it means the background, his background and my background were very different. By the time we were clearing Form 4, you can imagine when we were looking for employment, we survived with selling shares with him as he was looking for employment. But you see, now my money was different. It was black tax. I took it back home.
Yes.
So those are the kind of things we are saying. It is about what do people do after the awareness.
Right.
And that now becomes to an individual background that you've had, of course, as I said, your relationship with money, your exposure on the relationship and how you're supposed to deal with money in life. So for me, those are the 2 main other things, apart from the other 2 that we've discussed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, umesema vizuri hapo that economy is bad for individuals and businesses alike, so everyone's trying to be innovative in how they're spending and where they're spending it at.
Yes.
Just a side question, which is, especially at this time, Everyone is holding on to the little that they have. They're withdrawing the little that they were saving somewhere. They're not buying insurance as much. Or maybe you have the numbers, they might be buying insurance as much. But convincing people in this time, how does that look like for financial institutions? You know, getting people to still spend the little that they have left on a future, on, you know, investment, on long-term thinking. Very hard at this point, kwa sababu kila mtu ako like, kesho naweza pata emergency. Leo watu lazima wakule. How do you still, you know, maintain financial inclusion and the message of, you know, keeping and growing your money?
Yeah, so as an institution, of course, we have also changed the way we are doing things. Because as you've said now, we are not highly competing with competitors. I'm not competing with another insurance company. I am competing with rent, with transport, you know, with food.
Yes,
basic
the biggest
needs.
competitor in the market.
And therefore, we have changed the way we are also, if you've noticed, there's a lot of products being revamped. Because then we are looking, what is that need? So you feel like microinsurance, as he has just said, you're going for internship. Why am I giving you a whole year, you know, cover? You're going for 3 months. Let me give you for 3 months.
Right.
We have partnered, like, for example, with Little Cab. You use Little Cab. You don't need then to have a personal accident cover while you are seated here. Isn't it? So maybe the personal accident cover is on, your risk is when you are traveling.
Yeah.
So we are now offering what we call on-demand insurance. When you enter that car is when I cover you for accident.
Right.
Because the probability of having you an accident is when maybe you are exposed driving a car. So we are now tailoring the products to the need and timelines. And then what we call bite-size insurance. So it's not a must. For example, predominantly we'll say we are selling education policy for 18 years, 19 years. Now you find, if I come to convince you that you are imagining 15 years from now, do I know even about tomorrow?
You know? Be there next week.
So you'll find even education policies are now having holiday premiums. You know, like if you don't get money tomorrow, I'm not going to tell you you have lost your policy and your money. I will allow you to have policy redating. There are many models now we are using to suit the economic position and situation that we are in the country. So it's about agility, flexibility, but our core thing is to keep researching and listening to the client needs with the different economic environments we are finding and offering solutions immediately, not tomorrow. Because then, as you are saying, everyone is even coming back to pick what they already even had saved. Because maybe they even need to use it. Or also the fear of tomorrow. It's high right now with everyone. Yes, so those are the kind of things we are trying to do.
Nice, I like it.
Yes.
Vincent, as a student, let me ask a question on education, especially as a final year student. Hopefully, being in the best university, I'm sorry to University of Nairobi alumni.
No, the.
Oh, wow.
It is the.
To the University of Nairobi, which is second place. Speak to the best institution. As a student from the best institution in the Republic, and a final year student who's been a member of the Finance Society of Kenyatta University. Are these things in the education? Do you pick them in your school life from first year till now? Do you feel like there's somewhere that, you know, financial education could get better? So that, you know, when you talk up here, you leave recommendations for those who are, you know, behind. So financial institutions also, what role can they play, do you feel, in strengthening that education curriculum when it comes to matters of finance?
Okay. So when you look at the formal curriculum, for instance, let's say my coursework for the undergraduate course that I'm doing, as much as, so I'll study financial markets, I'll study economic concepts, which to some extent will make me better off in terms of financial literacy compared to the average person. But it shouldn't matter what course you're doing. Even if you aren't studying economics, even if you aren't studying finance, you should have a platform where the education system actually equips you with knowledge about important financial concepts and the various financial products that are out there. So in terms of that, our education system is actually failing in that specific perspective, that it is producing graduates who might not really be at the best place when it comes to financial literacy. But to be fair, now participating in student clubs actually helps to bridge this gap. Because, for instance, as a member of Finance Society of Kenyatta University, we are here. This is a case in point. We are here talking about financial inclusion. And we have corporates that are actually reaching out to now organizations, student organizations, to try and accelerate that financial awareness and that financial inclusion.
Right.
So my call out there will be two-faced. First, whether this is from a national level or even from a university level, it is time that we start to make sure that no matter what course you're doing, you get to learn about financial products and financial literacy, so that we can improve financial inclusion. And secondly, to corporations out there, you can always reach out to student organizations, because the students we have right now, by the way, are hungry for opportunities. They're hungry for knowledge. So you can reach out to us through these student organizations and create win-win situations that allow you to sell your products, while also empowering the students.
Right. And also getting, to train people who you can use later. As,
by the way.
People to continue this message of financial inclusion. When it comes to financial literacy, as I was saying, Susan, in remote regions, for example, my mother, who is a farmer, simple farmer, kesho nikimwambia hii mahindi yako, there's something you can get for it from Britam to cover you from natural disasters in 4 months. It is a tough discussion, because one, she's like, I've been doing this for years, what are you talking about? Getting insurance right now, that level of literacy has yet to get to that population. Many like her. What can we do collectively? I know the one thing, I'll provide the first solution, which is myself and Vincent, we do our best, go to them, speak to them, give them the information, right?
And the solutions.
Kapisa, and show them that it's working, and show them the importance, as you had said earlier. What more is institutions like Britam doing to get this information to these people who might not be able to read it on the website or to read it on a brochure, but needs kind of convincing one-on-one conversation for them to understand it?
So the first thing is collaboration. As organization, we have appreciated the importance of expertise. So we are an expert in providing solutions, and then there are experts who are what we call ground guys. So you will find now we are collaborating with some NGOs who are very good at this. For example, when your mom is buying seed, in that packet of seed, there is something to scratch. And once they are able to use the USSD, they get insurance. So easy. And it is part of the fund they have bought the fertilizer or the seeds with.
Nice.
So you see, we are using partners who predominantly are the ones who give other services and not financial inclusion. So someone who sells the seed, an agrovet who is selling. So your mother knows that person all these years. But now they have not met Britam or Susan. But now when they go to this agrovet, the agrovet is telling now, you saw there were floods, you saw there were droughts. Now scratch this as you buy, use this USSD, you're going to get a message. And in case you have this issue, this flood, this drought, please come back. We will be able to link you to this institution that will provide you insurance. So partnership is working. The other thing, as you have said, is awareness peer-to-peer. So you will find, for example, what we are doing at microinsurance. We are going to the level, if I want to sell a product of, let's say, funeral cover to traders in a market, who will they listen to? Susan in the suit?
Nope. Definitely nope. Huyo anakuja kutibia pesa yetu.
Exactly. Huyo amekujia pesa zetu. That's how they think. So what we are doing, we are looking at the leaders. We use them as influencers now on ground, and we educate them. We take time to educate them. We use testimonials, success stories that previously we have been able to, for example, our business is to pay claims. So we use the success stories, then they go now and give this information to their fellow peers. So we are tailoring products depending with also the need. And not over or saying that everyone needs savings. Maybe your mom doesn't need savings. Your mom need, if there is drought, if there is flood, she's able to to come back and be able to plant the next seasons that come. So that is the cognizant we are. So partnership is working,
Right.
but also peer-to-peer or influencer awareness is helping us a lot.
Right. Are transaction costs an issue that comes up, especially in this underserved populations?
It is a very sensitive issue,
Yeah.
and therefore that is why you see we do not use traditional model of selling. We are using, you know, the USSDs, the digital platforms, or the influencers themselves exposing the products to many people. So one person to many people who do not incur a lot of costs.
Right.
Yes, so it is an issue, because remember, when you are talking to these individuals, 1 shillings accumulates to 30 bob, and 30 bob
Will accumulate to some more. And
to
one
some
day
more.
you have a million.
Yes,
Right.
and therefore for them 30 bob in a day is enough for them to buy something. Whereas us now, we are sitting in the office, you're not thinking of what is 30 bob.
Yeah.
That's the difference. To them 30 bob is even a profit. To your mom 30 bob is a profit maybe.
I was fighting with my milk lady. Akiniambia nimlipe na cash. It's like, it's just 30 shillings. Come on, right? So, but for them it's a different, you know.
They think very differently. 30 bob is profit for that one sale to you.
Yeah.
And then you are thinking, just send me, and you don't send
go
me
and
money to
withdraw.
No, it's that's why that's why we have to understand the clients
And then tailor it
and then
specific.
tailor it specific and make it most affordable and easy to access. Yes.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
Vincent,
Yes.
do you feel now you have a role in society? What does that look like from where you're sitting at, in, you know, making sure my mom understands that crop insurance is a thing and that she can take it?
Okay, so the first point, at least from where I sit, is for me first to be able to empower myself. And like we've said, the education system might not really be that stable in terms of offering me that awareness. But even if they did, there is still that aspect of personal responsibility. So it is up to me to make sure that I put myself in spaces, that I go out and look for materials that can help me better understand my finances, better understand the financial services that are available to me. And once I have understood that, once I have empowered myself, then my second role will be to make sure that the people who sit closest to me, for instance, I'm a firstborn, so I have younger siblings. So as they come up, they are still younger. As they grow up, what can I tell them about financial products? How can I help to increase the knowledge that they have? And that is my responsibility as a professional. So I am in finance, and as I look to transition into work, I'd like to be part of the people who are building these solutions to the problems that are surrounding financial inclusion.
Yeah.
So as I go out into the market, I need to think of innovative ways of ensuring that we can solve these problems.
Okay.
So through these 3 ways, that is how I can play a role in ensuring that I advance financial inclusion.
Right.
Yeah.
I like your first point, which is empower yourself first. Probably that's the problem I have with my mother, because she's like, wewe uko na empowerment. Hebu nionyeshe mahali umeinvest kwanza kabla unipatie advice. So I need to empower myself to a level where it's also visible that, you know, enyewe huyu jamaa anaelewa mambo ya finance. That it's easier, you know, to even let anyone around me, you know, also get on board and be financially aware. Are there benchmarks or goals, Susan, for the next couple of years for financial institutions in increasing financial inclusion? Yeah.
Yes, the big thing right now is the SDG, as we are aware. You know, poverty eradication, quality education. Of course, when we look also at promoting decent work and economic growth, and of course, reduction of inequality. So those are the goals everyone, I know you have seen SDGs, a big thing now. That is the goal for every institution right now.
Okay.
So as he have said, it's a matter of individuals and also business owners to look for also this information, because it is there. The issue is, are you aware?
Okay.
But also the other angle of us as financial institution, because when you look at it, we are talking about the banks, the MFIs, the SACCO, insurance company. We have now insurance companies. All of us, then our goal is to ensure that we are able to meet the client's need by offering accessible products, is to access, affordable, and also products that are impactful to the tailored needs that are outside there. Yes, not boardroom products. Yes.
Not, you know, products that are spoken behind closed doors with big terms, and then they translate to nothing to the users. All right. For a student like Vincent and the rest in Kenyatta University, and Kenya at large, who would like to pursue a career in finance, I'd like to get a bit of advice as we close up to them, which is important because when I finished my Form 4, finance was part of the career paths that I wanted to pursue, economics and finance. But my reason was because I thought there's so much money, because I'll work with banks, so nitakuwa naingia bank na chukua kakitu, ndavaa suti, kutakuwa tuna pesa. I had the wrong motivation. I'm glad that I didn't pursue that, because I would have failed terribly, because I didn't have the correct info. So what advice would you give like someone like me from back then, and others who want to pursue a career in finance? How's that one like?
So it personally, I've done economics. So we were just laughing, has also done economics.
Nice.
And in finance, there is a lot of opportunity. And that's why for me, I took it. I wanted to do medicine. I didn't qualify with the results that I received. And the advice I received from my brothers were, go to finance, because in finance you'll find your place, and I believe so on a personal ground. Why do I say that? If you look then at finance, there are very different institutions you can work with. So you can work in a bank, you can work in a SACCO, you can work in an MFI, you can work in insurtechs that are coming up right now and are looking for solutions through digital angle. You can work in an insurance company, you can work in an insurance company, you can also go to CBK. So when you look at, when you're throwing opportunities outside there are many opportunities you can look for. Now let's get inside. Once you say you're a finance person, like myself, economics, I am majored on sales and marketing. Then there's someone who's in operation. There's someone who is doing credit and other things. There's someone who go in a bank who is a cashier. So you'll find, once you go customer service and a finance, so you will find there are very many opportunities and different types of institutions that you can be able to go and offer your expertise. That is why for me, I believe this is the right career that someone can choose. But as I keep saying, everything is about passion. If you do not have passion, as you are just saying, if you picked it, you would not be enjoying it.
Right, true.
Like myself, I have tried to do finance on an operation side, and it failed. After 3 years, I had to go back and do sales and marketing, because that's where I just find I fit in, and my passion is. So those two things match for you to then enjoy what you're doing.
All right.
Yes.
Vincent, I hope you picked your course with passion and not as I had almost made a mistake with. A word of advice for the students you're leaving behind at the top university in Kenya as you leave.
Okay. I don't know if you'll allow me to weigh in on the issue of benchmarks.
Definitely.
Okay.
Sure.
So I think part of the trends we are seeing in terms of benchmarks that have been set towards scaling financial inclusion, some of the significant things we have is, for instance, the central bank is developing a new payment system. It's called the fast payment system. So through the FPS, that's what they're calling it in short, anybody, anywhere will be able to pay any other person at any time, irrespective of whatever financial institution that they are actually part of. So the beauty of this is that we will have across the board interoperability, which will greatly reduce the transaction costs you mentioned as a barrier towards financial inclusion, increase the security of our payment infrastructure, and increase financial inclusion. Secondly, on the matter of financial literacy, because it is at the core of financial inclusion, recently CBK and the Kenya Bankers Association launched a plan that is called the Chora plan, which is Plan Your Financial Journey. So this program is a coordinated effort by different stakeholders to actually increase knowledge of fast budgeting, financial concepts such as budgeting and savings, but also knowledge of what financial products are out there. So this is also a very strategic move towards accelerating financial literacy for financial inclusion. And third, as part of the national payment strategy for 2022 to 2025, the central bank is also planning on developing a unified identification system. So with financial institutions, and I'm sure Susan will agree, we have know your customer requirements, typically IDs and KRAs. So the government is working on a centralized database where you can, instead of requiring every customer to give you these documents, you have a unique identification code that you can just query and confirm. So again, this will lower compliance costs for KYC requirements and reduce transaction costs and accelerate financial inclusion. So in terms of benchmarks that we have towards the future, I'd say that we are really moving in an awesome direction. Because if you couple these with their efforts at actually customizing products and building suitable digital products, we are going to achieve our targets for financial inclusion.
Nice.
In terms of what I'd say to my fellow students, and even as I exit to become an alumni of the best university in Kenya.
Nice. Want to hammer it down. These UN people are showing us things
for very many years. No, it is your time to. Okay. Yeah. But what I'd say is to the students out there, learn technology. You can no longer afford to view finance as finance in isolation. Technology is actually the single greatest accelerator for financial inclusion. If you talk of insurtech, if you talk of fintechs, so learn technology. And you don't have to be a coding guru, but at least understand what role technology is playing towards financial inclusion.
Right.
Secondly, keep up with trends, because the field of finance is changing fast. Every day new products are coming up. So it is up to you to make sure that you are up to date with trends. And third, think like a problem solver, because we obviously have problems across Africa. So think as a problem solver, how can I use the technology now, my keeping up with information and the course that I've done to actually develop a solution that can solve a real problem that we are facing. So that to me is how students can prepare themselves for a career in finance.
Right. You have pumped in hope into this show. I always try, there's a lot of bad news to report lately. The state of the economy, political news. Every other time I ask my panelist here is, could you please shine a torch in this darkness, something, some hope? And I love that you've mentioned a couple of things which are exciting to look forward to in the next couple of years. The good thing with how you've described the products which are going to help accelerate financial inclusion is that now, even with my 5 bob, I'll be able to get something to, I'll be able to probably in 5 years invest in my life insurance by paying 10 bob every day or by sending 3 bob because now I can be able to send from Equity directly to Britam, from my corporate bank to NCBA. That kind of interoperability as well. I just wanted to also mention that for those who want to invest, I remember hammering down on this, the DAO CSD, which is a portal and mobile application by the Central Bank of Kenya for individuals and corporate bodies to invest in treasury bills without going through intermediaries. So this is ways in which once you catch up with technology, train yourself on tech, keep up with the trends. It's not just helpful for you to know the information, but also so that products don't fly by without your knowledge. Umetulia unashangaa ufanyie nini your 10 bob. Na products zinapita tu nje mlango yako without you knowing. So that's why I try and bring these conversations to you and also to interact with you online and see what you are most concerned with so that we get to answer that. So thank you very much for joining us for this conversation, Susan and Vincent. Just going to read a bit of feedback here and then get your parting shots at this point. Anything that you'd like to speak about Britam? This will be the chance for our young population which is looking. And then for our exiting student final year, what to join Finance Society. I try and support that club a lot because they've brought very interesting conversations here, and more important ones happen at your gatherings and the events that you hold. So just make sure you do that call out. In the meantime, Robin Mugo says, I love the discussion. Due to the high cost and using of influencers or the leaders, sometimes it is hectic to reach the target market. What do young entrepreneurs need to do? I think this is a question that you will have to answer, Susan. So he's asking that due to the high cost of using influencers or leaders, sometimes it's hectic to reach the target market. So I think this is someone who's innovating in the finance space, and they're asking what can young entrepreneurs do if they don't have that much money to use influencers and local leaders. Currently, I'm in an area where the community is pushing for cash payments, and I was almost stranded since I had M-Pesa only. As an insurance firm, is there something that needs to be done? That's from Robin Mugo. You will handle that last, but tuanze na Vincent kwanza. Payane hiyo last parting shots na something about Finance Society of Kenyatta University.
Okay. So if I could weigh into part of Robin's question, the issue of people actually pushing for cash. So that's really an issue with the effective tax burden, especially for individuals and SMEs. So that's why people are opting for cash. And I think it's really important for us to review how we're looking at taxes for SMEs, or else we'll end up eroding everything, all the progress that we've made in terms of financial inclusion for them. Yeah. So in terms of my parting shot, first, as a student who is participating on campus, the only way to increase your worldview is by actually participating in student clubs, because they put you in rooms so you can have meaningful conversations and get different perspectives from different people. And the beauty of it is, as much as we talk as students, we also get to involve corporate partners who can also bring you an out of school perspective. So join school clubs, join Finance Society of Kenyatta University, and I promise you that you will not regret that decision.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Vincent.
Thank you.
Susan?
So I think I can answer the question, and he has just answered. So the issue currently, we know all of us, it's about tax. So everyone is looking at, how much am I losing? And we know why. It is because if I pay tax, what is this money being used for? So it is a matter of, remember, one of the enablers that we said, it's about legal frameworks and institutions to also try and give out awareness and information on why we need to tax. So this I will leave to the right institutions to do it, figure it out and offer this solution, because as you are saying, then we are going back. You go to Isili right now, no one is speaking M-Pesa. It's cash, because the consequence of it is coming in terms of tax issues and the fear. So I know that angle will be sorted with the right institutions that are supposed to handle this. Then in terms of the other question of the use of influencers, I've said, as a young person, as we've said, look at what we are doing, Britam. So anyone who is watching me, just go to Google Store and look at Microinsurance Advisors app. Microinsurance Advisors app by Britam. So this is a platform we have offered for the young individuals, and especially the students, that they can be able to download it and sell at the comfort of the school and earn things like personal accident, funeral covers that you do, the small chamas, if one student, God forbid, one has lost life or their family members, with as little premium as 191 bob. When it's Saturday and Sunday, how do you use your time? Are you just blogging and chatting and all over and laughing rather than, with a product, the way I've said, 3 months, the border guy who is just there at the gate, who carries you. As they carry you, he was showing me where they live. So I was asking him, how do you go? That's other side. Are you able to tell him, there's a product, what is your risk? It is accident. With 191 bob, you're insured 50,000 accident. And you buy it every 3 months. So it is a matter of self-initiative first for the young people, apart from just looking for the awareness. So this, in terms of peer-to-peer influence, is what we should use, because that is what we are good at in terms of students, rather than going to look for an influencer to sell your product. Come here and, seek for an opportunity to talk to some other student and then give them an opportunity to earn with the product that you are looking to develop as a young person. That's how I would answer the gentleman who has asked that influencer is expensive. For us, it has cost us nothing. For leaders, KU, we have already given employment to over 650 students this year.
Wow.
Who are selling for us internship personal accident cover on a daily basis.
Nice.
to other universities. That's why we are seated here today with
Right.
this team and the institution.
Right.
So in terms of my part in short, I'll say, as we look at the financial institution, it's not about providing the products and services only. It's about creating frameworks where individuals and business people can access effectively the use of financial tools that will help them improve their economic standing. So it is not a selfish angle.
Right.
It is about impact.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That is Susan Nyotta and Vincent Njagi who are helping me break down this discussion. Very important, the role of financial institutions in financial inclusion. If you have written down notes, I'm sure your book is full now. Couple of takeaways. We'll be going through them even after this discussion all the way to 10 a.m. We'll be looking back at some of those that I have written down myself, including personal responsibility. Take it first, empower yourself, and then do that peer-to-peer, and financial inclusion will get to the most underserved of our population. This is not about you purchasing products from financial institutions. I think we need to make sure that's clear, yeah? It's about you being empowered by knowing, you know, what the financial markets are looking like and what kind of products you can use to your advantage. Kama hiyo yenye mesemo ya accident cover. Boda guy, contribute a little bit. You know how it's like for that industry. You never know when an accident is coming by. You will be safeguarded. You'll be doing your work with a peace of mind. Sio umetulia uko like, na leo 3 mambo ikiharibika, tena nimerudi last week, bike imeenda na mwenyewe. Think about your future and think about how financial inclusion can get to you, and then how you can spread it to the people around you. Thank you very much for this conversation, Susan and Victor as well. To Vincent and to the Finance Society of Kenyatta University, asante sana. Just to finish with some feedback before I go for that break. This is Miss Karanja, anasema thank you Vincent and Susan for your insights on fostering inclusivity and bridging economic gaps. Asante sana for tuning in. Hymns of Eternity. Tune in. Is that one person or a couple? But thank you for tuning in. Hymns of Eternity. Anasema nice presentation, Mrs. Susan and Vincent. I have learned a lot. Oh, it's one person. All right. Continue singing as the Hymns of Eternity. Ruth anasema love the discussion. That's on our live stream on YouTube. Asante sana for tuning in. President Emeritus, that's how they're called, right? Former presidents of the FSKU, Calvin Inzala. Sema, good morning, Richard. I'm tuned in from Makadara, Nairobi. A proud alumnus. I love the show and the knowledge shared on financial inclusion. So your former president is also watching the show. Glad that he still supports this, as we always have these discussions every Tuesday. Going for a short break so that I can digest that very important information, have a look at my bank balances and see where I can move monies, and do I need to send a text to get financially included. Then I'll be right back. On Biashara Tuesday, what's coming up next is a newspaper review. I have Ojong Mariam here with me, colleague of mine on Art and Culture Monday. He did a show yesterday, one hell of a show. We'll discuss about it. He'll be here for the newspaper review to look at the headlines alongside Murithi Alex, all the way from Gatundu North. He's a youth leader, young person. Reactions, opinions, and predictions. What is happening in the papers? Grab a copy.